Hi everyone, it's Niamh here and welcome to my art journaling channel. Today we're going to be playing around with the Dylusions collage sheets to create some Dylusion inspired artwork. So this page was done after I'd done the previous page. You can see on the other page I did the background using the Dylusions ink sprays. So I used some of the warm ink sprays, bubblegum pink, fuchsia, pure sunshine and tangerine, I think, and smush the pages together to get my backgrounds. I don't use ink sprays very often, I have to say, but I have got them out of my stash again just to play around with. To put some detail into the background, I have just used this stencil from the Crafters Workshop. This is one of the Balsa design ones from 2020. And it's awesome because it's got all these different patterns on it. So the reason I'm doing this page is because I did the original page and thought I'd videoed it, and when I went to download the video I hadn't videoed it. I forgot to press play. But these two pages are done in pretty much the same way. So the only difference is on the page I'm working on now, I stenciled in the background with some Dylusions paint. I used Pure Sunshine. On the previous page I used another Crafters Workshop stencil. I think it was Modern Lace, and just did what Dylusions does. She, or Dylusions does, she sort of draws through her stencils and does patterns within them. So that's all I did in the background there. It's still the same ink spray, and did the same washi border. So the washi borders, I know Dylusions does a lot of borders in her artwork. It's also something that Tisha Moore, who sort of I think started this trend 30 odd years ago of doing magazine collages and stuff. She used to do an awful lot of borders on her artwork as well, just out of found collage. Now I've got an awful lot of collage rummaging around on my desk, but I find it's really convenient just to use your washi tapes. I don't use washi very often, and they're all in different widths and sizes, so you can get these funky little borders. You can tear up bits like I'm doing now with the gold and create these really cool little effects. And it's a great way to go through your washi stash. So if you're anything like me, you probably have a bit of washi floating around, and use it up. It's fun to have. It's fun to have an empty roll of washi. So the final thing, this is something that Dylusions does, is she outlines her borders. So it doesn't matter that it's not straight. It doesn't have to be. It actually looks quite cool if it's got little bits sticking out here and there, because it's supposed to be random. The other thing is that you don't need to adhere to the borders of that you have. You can go over them. So unfortunately my camera is not in a great place. I must have moved it. I really apologize for that. But the top of that head actually touches the top of the page, so it's going out of the borders. You can see on the other page too, all that hair is sort of going over the border I've created. If I tried to keep everything within the border, I'd have a lot of stuff cut off, so it's nice to have it sort of coming off the frame. The only thing I do tend to stick to having touched the border is the base of my figure, particularly in something like this that she doesn't have legs, so it just grounds the piece a little bit. I decided on this page, because my background wasn't busy enough already, that I was going to glue down these circles because I really like them, but I couldn't imagine how I was going to use them otherwise. So I sort of worked out where I wanted them to go, and then I've lifted them off and tried to eyeball where I wanted them to go again. And you use really silly things to do. For example, that star washi I've got on the side, I sort of worked out, I've covered this star, it touches these 2 points, and that's where I'm going to have to put it back down again. So you can use little measuring tricks like that, or you could be sensible and just draw around it with pencil so you get it exactly where you want it. I'm also going around these heights with, not heights, goodness me, the star, they are a shape. Try again, Niamh. The circles. I'm going around the circles with my paint pen just to make them stand out. And again, it kind of connects it to the border. So it's not necessary, but it just sort of pulls it out from the background. And I find when I'm doing magazine collage, I outline everything. And I know that that's something that Dylusions does as well. She talks about it quite regularly. It just helps everything pop out, and it blends because everything is so unique and so they don't belong together. You know, you've got this huge face and a tiny body and, you know, wings and circles. They don't belong together. So by drawing over the top of it, it kind of helps unify it and bring it all together. The other thing I've found is, particularly with these collage sheets, they're on quite matte paper, so even if you've got black on it, you can obviously see the difference between my black paint pen and the black that's printed. It's quite dramatic, the difference. So I quite like having the harsh black lines. It makes it stand out to me, so that's why I like sort of drawing them back in again, which seems a little bit pointless because you've got all that pen work on there already that you're doing it again. You don't have to because the pen work's there, but it's fun to do. And I've found when I've been teaching that people like to have guides. So you've got those guides there already. You don't have to think about the patterns to fill it in. The pattern's already there. You're just drawing over the top of it. And you can add more. So for example, on this hair, I've decided to use my white paint pen. I'm putting extra pattern into her hair. You can use different colors. They don't have to be the same colors. But once you started drawing over what's already there, it gives you the confidence to go in and put more of your own spin on these things, which is really important because while it's brilliant that we can use other people's artwork, and don't get me wrong, I use, you know, Dylusions artwork and stamps by Dina Wakeley and collage sheets. I use them all the time. I love them. But it's nice to have a little bit of you on the page too. So even if that's you drawing over the top of them or adding them in a different way, that's you adding your personal spin on it. So I'm going around, because I found the black lines on the circles a little bit too harsh, I'm going around with my white paint pen, just putting dots around them so it looks like they're kind of stitched on, just to add a little bit of extra detail. And again, none of this is necessary, but it's fun and it's mindless and it takes your mind off what you're doing and you don't have to think about it very hard and you can still have fun doing it. So I'm going back in with white and just adding again more details on the bag, adding more stripes on it. It is a bit addictive, I will give you that. Once you get started, you actually start seeing all these blank spaces and thinking, oh, what can I add there? Oh, what can I add there? So know when to stop is another really important hint as well. Just to highlight the word unique, I've just got my black paint pen and drawn around it. Now, because I was in the mood for doodling and I'd done it on the page before and actually really liked it, I decided that I'd take my black paint pen and actually outline my stenciling on the page. Now, I could have obviously done this at the beginning. At the beginning though, when I had nothing on the page, the stenciling stood out. But once I started to add things to the page, the stenciling really got reduced into the background, which is okay because it's a background for a reason. But I really liked that pattern work and I wanted to bring it out. And you can see the difference it makes just by putting a black line around it. I'm not being particular about how I'm drawing around it. If it didn't quite fit, that's fine. If it's a bit sketchy, that's okay. If you wanted to be really precise, you could obviously put the stencil back down again and draw around the stencil. Totally up to you. But again, those hand-drawn wonky lines makes it look more hand-drawn, more than you've done it yourself. So the final thing I'm going to add onto this page is some snarky backchat stickers from Di Reevely as well. I find with magazine collages, whether it's using Di's work, collage sheets or magazines I do myself, they always look a little bit snarky or they've got attitude. So having quotes that go with them that have attitude as well just sort of really helps to pull them out. So the quote was, "You live, you learn, you upgrade," which I really liked because she looks like she's ready to upgrade and she's very unique. So this is a close-up of the background. You can sort of see the washi in the background and those heights and so on. The second page I'm showing you now is from the other page that we saw. And again, it's pretty much exactly the same process. You can see I've got the stenciling in the back. I've done some doodling in. I've put down my images. I've doodled over it. The only difference is the curls that you can see in her hair and that eye are actually stamped images that I've combined with the collage images. So you can combine your stamps with your collage to make some really cool, interesting effects as well. So I hope you break into your collage sheets If you don't have collage sheets, go raid your magazines and come up with your own designs to use, because it's so much fun to do. And you'll find a link in the description box below to where to find those collage sheets as well. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye for now.